Okay, here we are with number 7. Now we're getting into our quadrilaterals. The vertices of quadrilateral W, X, Y, Z are W, 5, -1, X, 5, 2, Y, 8, -1, and Z, 8, 2. What type of quadrilateral is W, X, Y, Z? Well, let's graph it. So I have coordinate 5, -1. That's going to be right here, and that is W. 5, 2. There is X. 8, -1. Oh, wrong way. 8, -1. That's Y. Ooh, that looks like more like an X. And 8, 2. There is Z. So let me connect my points. Well, let's see. I can see those have right angles. So that could be a rectangle or a square. So let's check our side lengths because a square has all sides congruent. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. They are congruent. So that makes this a square. This is a square. Number 8. Which of the following terms could not be used to describe the polygon below? Well, it is a rhombus because it has 4 congruent sides, so that can be used. A parallelogram, yep, I can call it a parallelogram because I have the opposite sides equal and a pair of opposite angles equal. A rectangle. I don't think so. A rectangle requires right angles, and I don't see any right angles. Quadrilateral, yes, it is a quadrilateral. It does have 4 sides. So, which one cannot be used? That would be the rectangle, because it doesn't have any right angles. Number 9, which of the following is always true? A rectangle is a square. Okay, so if I take rectangle, is it always a square? And the answer is no. If I take a kite, is it always a quadrilateral? Yes. Is a quadrilateral always a rhombus? That's a no. Is a parallelogram a kite? That's a no. So the only one that's really true is B. A kite is a quadrilateral. Okay, I'm going to pause the video to move it on up. Okay, number 10. Which quadrilateral does not always have diagonals of equal length? Okay, well, let me see. If I draw a rectangle, well, those would have diagonals of equal length, mainly because of Pythagorean theorem. This length and this length squared equals that length, and these two lengths here for the other one are the same, so they're going to be equal. A trapezoid, let's see, that one's pretty long and that one is not the same as that one, so that's a possibility. A square, yes, that was part of the properties that the diagonals were congruent. And isosceles trapezoid, where these two sides are equal, yes, that's enough information to show me that those are congruent. So the only one that is not always equal length, that's going to be the trapezoid. Okay, number 11. Lewis gave these clues to describe his mystery shape. It has 4 sides. two of its adjacent sides have the same length, and the diagonals are perpendicular. Well, that kind of sounds like a rhombus, except for one catch. You have one set of sides congruent here, but it doesn't say anything about the other ones, because the rhombus is the only one that has a perpendicular. Rhombus and square have perpendicular diagonals. Well, the only other one that has adjacent sides congruent and perpendicular diagonals is a kite. Okay, so we either have a square, a rhombus, or a kite, but it doesn't say anything about the other two sides. It says two of the adjacent sides have the same length. So that's what's going to make it a kite. Okay, I'm going to pause the video to move it up. Okay, now we're moving on to our area formula. So it says find the area and circumference of circle Q. Okay, well, the area formula is pi r squared, and the circumference formula is 2 pi r, or diameter times pi. So if I'm looking at circle Q, this is 24, and it goes all the way across. That means 24 is the diameter. So for the area, the radius is equal to half the diameter, so that's going to be 12. So I'm going to have area is equal to 12 squared times pi, and 12 squared is 144 pi. So if I'm looking at just the areas, that's not 140. Ooh, there's 144, but it doesn't have the pi. That one doesn't have 144. Well, by process of elimination, I can already get my answer as C. So circumference, if I plug in the diameter times pi, there's 24 pi, and that does match C. Okay, if the area of the following triangle is 5.4 centimeters, what's the height of the triangle? No, this is not a trick question. It wasn't supposed to be there. You're supposed to work it out. 5.4 is equal to 1/2 base times height. Okay, it's not supposed to be a trick question. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about, because it should be obvious. So half of 5.4 is 2.7. So we have 2.7h. And then we divide by 2.7. This is how you're supposed to work it out. You're not supposed to cheat. And 5.4 divided by 2.7 is 2. How do I know it's 2? Because it was given to us here. That's the trick part. Okay, so we should come out with 2, but they, for some reason, put the 2 here. I do not know if that's going to be true on the test or not. I will have to check. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video to move it up. Okay, number 14. Find the area of the trapezoid in which B1 is 13, B2 is 16, and H equals 3. So the formula for a trapezoid is area is equal to 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times H. So we're just going to substitute in here. The area is going to equal 1/2 of 13 plus 16 times 3. And then simplify. We're going to have 1/2 of 29 times 3. And multiply it all together. We get the area is 43.5. And of course it's area, so it's square units. That's going to be D. Number 15, find the area and perimeter of the parallelogram. Well, the area formula is base times height. Oh, we don't have the height. I wonder what we're going to do. Pythagorean theorem. Actually, not even that. Pythagorean triple. So the height is equal to 4. And that's because the triangle is a 3, 4, 5 triple. So use those to your advantage. It is a triple. You should know them by now. So now I got to find my area. So my base is 7. My height is 4, so that means my area is 28. And my perimeter, let's see, I've got 7 plus 7 on the top and the bottom, and I've got 5 and 5 on the left, on the left and the right. That makes my perimeter 24. Now, a perimeter is regular units. Area is inches squared. So watch when you're doing your units, because I went 28 inches squared and 24 inches, like answer choice A. But notice how they have 28 inches here, but it's perimeter length. It's not area length. And they have, those are the only ones that match. All right, I'm going to pause the video to move it up. Okay, number 16 says find the area shaded round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so we have a rectangle here. So I'm going to take the area of our rectangle. And we're missing a half circular piece. So we're going to subtract half our circle. So area of a rectangle is length times width. And area of our circle is going to be half of 1, so it's going to be half pi r squared. The dimensions of my rectangle are 6 by 5, so that makes my area 30. And I have a 5 diameter. So if the diameter is equal to 5, then the radius is half that at 2.5. So that means my area is going to be half of pi times 2.5 squared. And I think I'm going to have to pull up my calculator. So we're going to have 2.5 squared times pi, oops, wrong one, times pi divided by 2. And we get 9.8. So the area of my circle is going to be about 9.8. And then I'm going to subtract those two because I got to subtract the circle away. And that's going to give me 20.2, which is going to be B. Okay, I'm going to pause the video to move it up. Okay, number 17, describe the three-dimensional figure that can be made from the given net. Remember, a net is a two-dimensional flat representation of a three-dimensional object. And what I notice here is that I have a hexagon. Ooh, goodness gracious, where did that change? Let me get back to normal. Okay, so, ooh, much better. Hexagon. Okay, so let's see, I've got two choices. I have a hexagon prism and a hexagon pyramid. Okay, well, the fact that it has 1, 2 bases tells me it's a prism. A pyramid, all of these would be triangles instead of rectangles because a pyramid goes to a point. That's not happening here. I have 2 bases. Okay, number 18, find the lateral area and surface area of the right cylinder. Give your answer in terms of pi. So my surface area is going to do 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Okay, so let's see. It looks like my diameter is 6. So that's my diameter, which means my radius is equal to 3. So I'm going to have 2 pi 3 squared plus 2 pi 3 times 10. Set to leave it in terms of pi. So that means I'm not going to be multiplying by 3.14 or by the pi symbols. Pi is just going to come down like a variable. 3 squared is 9. So 9 times 2 is 18. And then I'm going to bring pi down. 2 times 3 times 10 is 60 pi. And then I add them together and I get 78 pi. Now that's my surface area. But in all reality, this part right here, that's the lateral area formula, which means this is part of lateral area and this is part of lateral area. So actually my